little late today, so not the greatest way to start off the new year. But when you're frazzled, first thing that you do, first thing that we do, is breathe, inspirate. It's like my hands are way out here. Inspirate and suspirate, because the intake is and the exhale is massaging they're both massaging the internal organs, calming down the heart rate, helping the blood pressure, all of that kind of stuff. So that's why we breathe. But the other reason, the connection with this is Shakespeare Therapy, herbal healing or herbal healing, but because we usually have a British co-host, Hannah Sylvester, the medical herbalist in Lincoln, we say herbal, and also it's very difficult to say Shakespeare Therapy, herbal healing. See, but one of the things that I do about trying to get you guys to learn a line of the week is to have a little bit more verbal dexterity. In addition to sharpening the brain, we know that Shakespeare is better than Sudoku puzzles for all of that kind of stuff, and crossword puzzles and all of that kind of thing. So if you don't want to sit and do a crossword puzzle, you can just learn a line of the week or learn a soliloquy. That's even better, because we're going to be talking today about breathing. And I just was, well, first of all, what else we do after breathing is find an herb. You can buy thyme, and you can buy marjoram at the health food store, the whole food stores, or I'm probably regular grocery stores now because they are so competitive with Whole Foods and things like that. So I have a little potted rosemary that I got for my birthday that I love. And even just doing this releases the essential oils. If you just put your nose in there, you don't smell it necessarily, but once you engage with it, then it's on your hand, then it's in your nose, and that clears the head. Any herb, marjoram, we know, also helps blood pressure, obesity, hypertension, all those kind of things. Rosemary is great for the memory, for clearing the clouds and the fog out of the brain. So crush and sniff. So that's who you want to crush it a little bit, breathe deeply. And the other thing is drink water. And a lot of people say drink pure water, and that's of course great. I don't know. Everybody's water tastes different in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. So I put lemons in mine and herbs. And I have rosemary in there today. And so I have my rosemary water for memory, and lemon just for the bitter and make it a little bit sweeter. Rosemary water on its own can taste a little too bitter. So again, we're going to anchor in wisdom, and we're going to anchor in healing. And that's why we call, I'm Garrett Quayle, author of Botanical Shakespeare, and we use this as a basis for the Bard's Brain Body Boost. Learning the herbs and plants that he used, the kind of nature's pharmacy, nature's medicine cabinet, their kitchen gardens were their pharmacy. They grew the things to help and heal them. But the other thing about Shakespeare is, in order to speak more than just a line, in order to speak the long passages and the scenes and all that stuff, you need a lot of breath. You need a lot of breath. And a lot of people have been forced to go on Zoom and certain things, like we certainly didn't ever anticipate doing a show like this until the Urban Tree Festival and circumstances with COVID prompted this medium of connection. And it's been great to be able to hopefully compress these into sound bites. But anyway, we're talking about the breath. So there's a thing in Shakespeare where there's a lot of O's. Oh, for a muse of fire. And the funny thing is about people, I used to start my classes and sometimes talks with what's called the oxytocin breath. And you take a big deep breath in, you feel it come up your spine and over your right shoulder. I can't remember why it's right shoulder, although it might be because of what we're talking about today, because of the vagus nerve. We're going to be talking about, that's the health aspect of it, it's the vagus nerve. And I came across it in looking up something else, and I can't remember what that something else originally was, but I was amazed and fascinated because it sort of hooks in below your ear and goes down to around your heart. And it affects so many things like having difficulty speaking or loss of voice. Something, if you have a hoarse or wheezy voice, if it's damaged, you can have trouble drinking liquids, right? You lose the gag reflex. Sometimes there's pain in the ear. You can have an unusual heart rate, abnormal blood pressure, and a decreased production in stomach acid. So there's all these things that it does. But how do you fix it? And I thought I had been looking up an herb when I came across it, but I haven't been able to come across that again. But I became sort of fixated because the things that help it are fascinating. And there's a couple other things that I wanted to read to you, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to come up with it in time because I didn't preset it. But, okay, I'm just looking for it. There we go. So her friend overheard this exchange in the bookstore. The young woman says, "I like reading Shakespeare." The young man says, mumble. Young woman, "So you look up the words. There are Shakespeare dictionaries, you know." Pause. And she continues, "He's pretty out there. I mean, he wrote about a Scottish king being like a serial killer or something. Weird shit." So I thought that was hilarious because one of the things that I want to talk about today is like the hierarchies. We talk a lot about hierarchies. We have the Oscars coming up and all these award shows that are going to be limping along because it's been a complete game changer, the whole how that all works. And so everybody's having to pivot. And people say, what is your favorite Shakespeare play? And I always say whichever is, behaving the best at the time, like children. And also, but it's also because it's what you need to hear at the time. If you're thinking about how we give our own power away, that's Richard II. And, unvarnished ambition is either the Scottish play, I say that, or Richard III. Christies of Conscience is Hamlet, magical powers and forgiveness is The Tempest. So it's like what you want to focus on. But one of the things that we try to focus on with the rhythm of the words and the O and the breathing is whole body health, because all of that stuff does help whole body health. All the herbs that he mentions, even the flowers and the scents of the flowers we have talked about have healing properties and beneficial body properties. So the line of the week this week, Happy New Year. It is the 3rd of January, 2021, and 21 is 3, so there's a little symmetry in there. It is all one. It is all one. And it's one of my favorite lines. It's in a lot of different plays in different ways. "'Tis all one," he'll say. There's a lot of variances, but it's all one. Because it's a holistic approach. The body and the breath, we often concentrate on one thing. Well, I have to do this one thing now, and I'm only going to, take care of my health, or I'm only going to, people often don't say, I'm going to just take care of my brain right now, until they start to notice, oh, I'm forgetting things, and I'm forgetting words, and I'm forgetting all the stuff. So it's all one. I can't stress that enough. It is all one. And everything that we all go through and everything that happens is all connected to something else. And beware the hierarchies. Okay, so going back to the vagus nerve, it connects in a sort of physical way. It's all one principle, because it connects the head and the heart, which is also will. Will happens in the middle of the body. Will I am, okay? It connects the head and the brain functions and the body functions. And so you need a healthy vagus nerve. You really need a healthy vagus nerve. And the thing about it is, the thing that helps the vagus nerve heal, or if it's damaged, or if any of that stuff, is breathing and singing. Singing helps it. And compliments actually help invigorate the vagus nerve. And singing, there's a line that says singing is like praying twice. Of course, singing forces you to breathe, just like saying a Shakespeare soliloquy forces you to breathe. So all of these things help the vagus nerve stay healthy. And it's the connection between the head and the body. And incredibly important. I might end up talking about it again. But for our purposes, I'm going to bring on a special guest, Hillary Parker from somewhere around Philadelphia. I can see, hello. There you are. Oh, we can't even tell you're in Philly. You're kind of in an amorphous cloud, like an angel. Anyway, I just want to ask before, she's going to sing for us. And we talked a lot about what songs, there's 9 or 10 flower songs in Shakespeare, but, and this isn't necessarily one of them, but Greensleeves is mentioned twice in Merry Wives of Windsor. And of course, it was a very famous song at the time. It was supposedly Henry VIII's favorite song, things like that. So it's interesting that it's in Merry Wives, which has an apocryphal story around Queen Elizabeth requesting it. And so it has green, so there's the growth aspect, although it's the sleeve. Hillary, do you sing every day?
I try to. Yeah.
Do you really?
It helps that I have a toddler and she likes music, so I can practice with her.
That's great. That's great. No, I mean, I was thinking about this and the whole vagus nerve connection because I was looking up, that's what it was. I was looking up the voice because I used to sing and I feel like I've lost it, and you feel like, oh, can I ever get it back? And I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but singing every day, just a little bit, even humming. But when I used to babysit a lot years ago, I always sang to the kids. Yeah. You know, so does she sing along with you?
She's trying. She's getting there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a muscle. I mean, when I was in grad school for acting, I didn't do many musicals. So then when I got back to New York and friends were like, audition for musicals, I was like, oh, my voice, hadn't been exercised. So I ended up studying with a voice therapist and to get it back because it hadn't been exercised, and it needs to, and you can get it back, but it's surprising how long it can take,
Yes. Well,
that's exercised.
Yeah. So you said a voice therapist instead of a voice coach. What exactly does that
She's a
mean?
Voice teacher. She works with a lot of classical artists, but she is trained in people who have vocal injuries and things like that to help you gain the strength back and open it back up. Because what I had noticed had happened is I was trying to manipulate, it's interesting you say here, the sound with my throat rather than because I was so desperate to have the old sound back. And just going back to the basics, and like you said, breath keeps everything open for it to come out. But it was surprising how I taught that muscle to tense and control, and how long it took to get it to, still working on, to relax and get back to how I used to just naturally sing, and I'm come a long way and I'm starting to feel it again. But yeah, it was a reminder, don't neglect it, keep on it. Yeah. Keep exercising.
That's great. And that's sort of what another aspect of what we do here, and why I do the line of the week. And people think, especially with the arts, that certain things are just magical. Certain people can just sing. Certain people can just, recite Shakespeare. And if you have to work on it, then you're not good at it. But everybody has to work on it. You have to work on your health. You have to work on relationships. You have to work on the holistic aspects of your life. And so thank you for bringing up that point. That's a great thing to remember. See, I breathed in right there. So let's do you mind? Can we hear Greensleeves?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously, and I have loved you so long, delighting in your company. Green sleeves was all my joy. Green sleeves was my delight. Green sleeves was my heart of gold. And who but my green sleeves thou couldst desire no earthly thing, but still thou hadst it readily, thy music still to play and sing, and yet thou wouldst not love me. Green sleeves, adieu and farewell. God, I pray to prosper thee, for I am still thy lover true. Come once again and love me. Green sleeves was all my joy. Green sleeves was my delight. Green sleeves was my heart of gold. And who but my green sleeves?
Thank you so much for doing that.
Sure.
Now, so of course that's the original, or the Tudor tune, which was then borrowed for What Child Is This? But if it becomes your earworm today, certainly hum along with it, and any earworm that you happen to catch. Humming, singing, breathing, and compliments will help your vagus nerve. So, Hillary, I can't thank you enough for coming on to do that. I love it. And yeah, we will probably be talking about the vagus nerve again, because it's so much a holistic part of the body that brings in, you know, the head and the heart, the whole thing. So crush and sniff, sing, compliment yourself, compliment each other. That's a good New Year's resolution to have. And we will see you next week. Thank you. Thank you so much, Hillary.
Of course.
Bye.